In the global society that we now live in, there are changing boundaries between what is regarded as acceptable and unpalatable to consume. As more and more people travel to widespread locations, our food ideals are revolutionizing. We've done a little investigating and have uncovered 10 food items that you will either love or loathe. 1. Balut, duck fetus egg. This may seem a little upsetting for some. A balut is a duck embryo that is boiled before it hatches, then eaten from the shell. It is commonly found in Southeast Asian countries such as Vietnam and Cambodia. A fetal duck egg is a fertilized egg that has been kept warm for around 2 weeks until the fetus is partially developed. Then it's boiled and eaten in the same way you would a normal chicken egg. No doubt this sounds repulsive to most readers, but it really is just a matter of getting used to it. Ultimately, the taste, not the idea of a food, should be what counts. 2. Surströmming, rotten fish. Fish is an important part of a wholesome diet, which makes it vital to identify spoilage before consumption. After all, safe food is healthy food, and you need to know how rotten fish may be the cause of your problems. Causes of rotting. If fish is not cooked properly, it leads to an increase in the microbial load, which hastens spoilage. After catching fish, if they are not chilled immediately, bacteria begins to grow. As the temperature rises, so does chance of spoilage. As fish is high in protein and fat, it spoils faster than other food. Health problems caused by rotten fish. When fish is spoiled, a chemical called histamine is released naturally by the dead fish. This chemical is highly toxic, and its intake leads to nausea, diarrhea, headache, and burning of the tongue. These symptoms are seen barely 10 minutes into consumption. In rare cases, the person may collapse or lose vision. Immediate medication has to be given. The cause is inadequate refrigeration after a catch. Salmonella bacteria may be present in raw or improperly cooked fish. The common symptoms are typical of food poisoning and include vomiting, diarrhea, chills, and fever. Effect is seen within 24 hours. Vibrio parahemolyticus, a bacteria, is naturally present in raw fish. It causes headache, abdominal cramps, as well as fever. It can also grow in cooked fish if handling was improper. A bacteria called C. botulinum has been isolated from spoiled fish. Upon ingestion, it can cause difficulty in speech, drooping of eyelids, and affect breathing. In severe cases, it can lead to coma and death. 3. Puffer fish or fugue. Would you willingly put something in your mouth that could potentially kill you? Well, that is what many people choose to do with fugue fish that can cause a violent death if not cooked correctly. These fish are considered the second most poisonous vertebrates in the world. They contain the toxin tetrodotoxin, which is 1,200 more deadly than cyanide. Eating fugue puffer fish is widely viewed as the mealtime equivalent of Russian roulette. The expensive winter delicacy in Japan contains a concentration of anhydrotetrodotoxin 4-epitetrodotoxin in its liver or ovaries that is up to 1,200 times more lethal than cyanide. The skill of the chef in removing the organs is therefore highly prized. The poison can paralyze the nerves and prevent the lungs working. There's no known antidote, and death occurs within minutes, with the first indication being numbness of the lips if the concentration is strong enough. 4. Kopilawake, cat poo. Removed from the phrases of civets, Kopilawake is apparently the world's most expensive coffee. Commonly produced in Indonesia, it has become a highly exclusive product in the last 20 years. Made from civets eating juicy coffee berries, once in their digestive tract, fermentation occurs before being defecated. Yummy. Retail prices for these beans range from €550 to $700 per kilogram. In the past 10 years, Kopilawake has won the hearts and wallets of global consumers. A cup sells for $30 to $100 in New York City and London. 5. Cashew marzu, rotten cheese. This is basically sheep milk cheese. So what's wrong with a little rotten cheese after all? Many cheeses go through fermentation. Well, what makes cashew marzu different is that it contains live insect maggots made by leaving the cheese outside until thousands of cheese flies lay their eggs inside. This stomach-turning delight is found almost exclusively in Sardinia, Italy. To craft this noxious specialty, cheesemakers encourage the cheese fly to lay eggs in their pecorino cheeses. One traditional method is to drill a hole in a block of cheese and slip in a drop of oil to attract the vermin. But the effort isn't always needed. While cheese skippers originally evolved to scavenge decomposed corpses, they've taken enthusiastically to the cured and fermented foods of Homo sapiens. Having discovered a suitable food supply, a mother will lay hundreds of eggs, which then hatch into a vile horde of hungry maggots, eager to devour their host environment. 6. Bird's nest soup. The key ingredient to this delicacy is a bird's nest. Composed primarily of the hardened saliva of a male swiflet, these nests are harvested 3 times a year from coastal caves. The soup, a Chinese delicacy, has a gelatinous texture and is made by soaking or steaming the saliva nest in water. It is an extremely expensive dish in China, with nests alone priced at $2,000 used per kilogram. For more than 400 years, bird's nest soup has long been one of the most expensive foods in the world, and even today a single bowl of it costs between $30 and $100. You can't just make it out of any bird's nest. Only the edible nest of the cave swiftlet will do, a nest made entirely out of the bird's saliva. These nests are high in calcium, iron, magnesium, and potassium. They are hard when harvested, but partially dissolve into a more jelly-like consistency when boiled into soup. 7. Tarantulas. Yes, people eat big, hairy, chunky spiders. Typically eaten in Cambodia, tarantulas can be barbecued, grilled, fried, or served on a stick. There are apparently a huge variety of spiders that are deep-fried across Cambodia. It has long been a popular delicacy. You can eat them whole. But to start, pull off and eat the legs 2 or 3 at a time. Do this for a few reasons. The first is that you'll notice the leg's curious resemblance to the legs of its fellow arthropod, the soft-shell crab. With each crunch, you'll also be able to better appreciate the flavor of the spidermonger's perfected recipe: salt, sugar, oil, and garlic. And the most important reason for eating the legs first: putting too much of the plum-sized creature into your mouth at the same time results in too many sharp, stiff legs jabbing at your gums from various directions. The spider seems alive, probably not the sensation you were looking for. 8. Snake wine. As the name suggests, snake wine is an alcoholic beverage made with snake and rice wine, or grain alcohol. Many of the snakes are venomous, but the ethanol makes it safe to drink. There are 2 types of snake wine. You either immerse a snake in rice wine and leave it for many months, or you drain the fluids of a snake directly into the alcohol and take it as a shot. Snake wine is a traditional part of many regional cuisines in China and is believed to be particularly good for the health. 9. Hormigas culonas, ants. Do you like nuts? Yes? Then you may like hormigas culonas, a nutty-tasting delicacy famous in Colombia. Looks a little like beans, but look closely and you will see that they are large, juicy ants, roasted and salted like peanuts. These nutty-tasting ants apparently go nicely in a thick sauce. Eating these particular ants is a tradition inherited from pre-Columbian cultures, where they were used as gifts in weddings, according to Wikipedia. The ants, which are harvested during the rainy season, are believed by some locals to be an aphrodisiac. 10. Rats. There was once a time when people only ate rats in extreme cases of hunger, But now in many parts of the world, Vietnam, Malawi, Kenya to name a few, it is perfectly acceptable to consume fried, salted or dried rats. Although this is a top 10 list, we couldn't resist throwing in one more edible delight. Paniki is a dish made by boiling a fruit bat in a pot of boiling coconut milk. After the bat has been boiled, it is chopped up and seasoned with a variety of herbs and spices. Apparently, eating this dish is a bit like playing Russian roulette with your life because you never know if the bat you are eating is diseased. What fun!